Welcome to Football with Cheese. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Usually I do the recap on Tuesday. I actually recorded a 45-minute video. I'm going to try to keep it shorter. And it skipped a few times. This program I use is just terrible. I'm going to switch to the one we use on the Lights Out podcast. Thank everyone who's showing up last night. Me and Mike, every Tuesday night, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific. Link in the description. We talked a lot about the Bengals trading for Joe Flacco. We also broke down the Arizona Cardinals' absolute disastrous loss to the Tennessee Titans. We did college football first, then we did baseball, talked a lot of playoff stuff, new manager openings in the National League, and of course the NFL. And we did the top 10 best teams in the NFL so far this season. So make sure you check it out. If you're a big NFL fan, it's the third segment. By the way, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss one of my videos. At the end, in these boxes up here, I'm going to link my instant reaction to the Joe Flacco trade from the Browns to the Bengals. So I'm not going to go over too much here. I'm also going to link a video I made last week on all the teams that suck and why they suck. This trend I'm seeing in the NFL. There's 3 reasons. One is obvious, you don't have good quarterback play. Make sure you check that out. They'll both be in these boxes at the end. Okay. First off, 72 Dolphins, only undefeated team. They're celebrating. Every team now has a loss. Only one team does not have a win. You'll find out in a second. Last thing on the 49ers Rams. Wow, that was 6 days ago. Feels like it's been weeks. That was the Thursday night game. They need to fix overtime. We talked about this a little after the Packers and Cowboys tie. There should never be a tie. They used to play a 15-minute overtime quarter, and then they reduced it to 10. But not only they reduce it, both teams get a chance to possess the ball, so it's going to lead to more ties, and nobody wants ties. Teams don't want it, fans don't want it. So what are they doing, NFL? And they reduced it to limit the amount of plays and wear and tear on the body, right? Well, why not just do a college overtime, or even do first and goal on the 10 instead of the 25? First and goal on the 10, just take turns. First time you can kick extra points, second time you have to go for 2. It will go quick and way fewer plays. I'm tired of ties. It's absolutely ridiculous. I'm even okay with going back and forth like college does after, I think, 2 overtimes. Maybe it's 3 or 4, I can't remember, but they just go for 2-point conversions back and forth. I may be okay with that. And teams will really have to practice more red zone if they do that, making real power running backs even more important, like old school football. Oh, let's do that. I want that. Okay. Now I'm pumped up. All right. So, the 49ers had scored a field goal, and the Rams didn't want to tie. They could have kicked the field goal, probably ends in a tie if they do. And Sean McVay goes for it. And I like the call going for it. The play call was horrible. Run right up the middle. That's exactly what teams have to stop. On 4th and 1 or 4th and 2, you can't let them run up the middle. So try something else. So the decision was good. The play call was horrible, so they lost. They absolutely should have won. But anyway, the crazy part about the 49ers is they're 4-1. They're in first place by themselves. But they have a -3 turnover ratio in those 5 games. They've won a lot of close games. I do not know how they're 4-1 with all their injuries. But they're in great shape, because they are 4-1, like I said, and they have road wins in the division, 2. They've won at Seattle and at the Rams, and they beat the Cardinals at home, so 3-0 in the division, 2 road division wins. I still think the Rams are the better team in the division, just passing the eye test, but let's get into it. Jaguars-Chiefs, what a crazy game for many reasons. Really weird finish. Started off punt, punt, punt. Okay, whatever. A lot of games start off like that. Then it got crazy. The Chiefs go down and get a touchdown, but here's the problem with the touchdown. Travis Kelce catches it, but Juju Smith-Schuster clearly commits OPI, offensive pass interference, takes out the defender for Kelce, not called. Oh, there's another one later. The Chiefs get a lot of calls. I don't know if you knew that. Jaguars then drive down the field to try to tie it 7-7, and they try that stupid play where you jump over the pile and try to stick the ball out, like Trevor Lawrence. Oh, wow, that was great. That was close. Stick the ball out. I see it more in college, but there's so many fumbles in that play. If you don't cross the line, that ball is so vulnerable. And, of course, he fumbled. And the Chiefs go down and make it 14-0. And I'm thinking, okay, I picked the Chiefs. I'm looking pretty smart. But give the Jaguars credit. They're just better coached this year than they've maybe ever been. Maybe since the late 90s. Liam Cohen, I think he's doing a good job. And Anthony Campanile, I may be saying his name wrong. I mentioned him multiple times. Big upgraded defensive coordinator. Love his style. They force more turnovers than any team in the NFL. That's the main reason they're 4-1. But going back to trying to jump and stick the ball over the plane, has the tush push taught us anything? You got to go low. There's no fumbles on the tush push. I don't know why they didn't try it. Let's talk about Devin Lloyd, linebacker for the Jaguars. He's a first-round pick 3 years ago out of Utah. I wanted the Packers to take him. They took Quay Walker instead. Disaster. But he's having a monster year. He's up there for Defensive Player of the Year. He might get it if the season ended today. His teammate, Josh Hines-Allen, might get it as well. Two guys just having breakout years. But he had a pick 6 in this game, 99 yards. Patrick Mahomes, terrible throw. I guess he didn't see him. But the pre-2023 Patrick Mahomes looked like one of the best quarterbacks ever. His touchdown-interception ratio was amazing. In the last few years, he's just not been as good. And it basically comes down to decision-making, in my opinion. Yeah, he doesn't have Tyreek Hill. Maybe not the weapons he used to. But when they get Rashee Rice back, he's got pretty good weapons. I think it's decision-making. I don't know. He's still very good. Don't get me wrong. He's just not as good as he used to be. And I think it comes down to just poor decisions or just not seeing the field as well. But the Chiefs basically lost 2 games this year because of 2 goal line interceptions. They lost by 3. They had a pick 6, 14-point swing there. Another 14-point swing against the Eagles where Travis Kelce drops it off his hands into the Eagles defender. So those 2 games, they lost by 3 and 14-point swings. So the Chiefs are 2-3. They should absolutely be 4-1. They'll be fine. They're only 1 game behind the division. Chargers have offensive line issues. But give the Jaguars credit. They fought back, cut it to 14-7 at halftime. They ended up taking the lead on that interception, 21-14. And then there was an interception by Trevor Lawrence where the Chiefs clearly commit pass interference. Clearly. Just take the receiver out. And it's not called. Terrible, terrible officiating. The Chiefs always seem to get the beneficiary of these calls. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. This is just facts. There's so much evidence out there. You should Google the Vikings-Chiefs game from a couple of years ago. Bad officiating. 3 bad calls on 1 play that screwed the Vikings. Just Google it. It's crazy. But we got to talk about the last touchdown. It's 28-24 Chiefs. Trevor Lawrence, first and goal, with 30 seconds to go, falls down. He trips over the right guard's foot. Then he tries to get up and he falls down again. And the Chiefs didn't get him. There were 3 Chiefs in the vicinity. One of them got his hands on Trevor Lawrence, missed the tackle. And Chris Jones, future Hall of Famer Chris Jones, one of the best pass rushing defensive tackles in the NFL, took the play off. Didn't try to rush and just stood there and watched. If he breaks for Lawrence, he's so athletic, even though he's about 295 pounds, he's going to get him. He could have stopped him on that play. Just took it off. I know you're tired. I know it's the end of the game. But you cannot take off a play with 30 seconds to go up 4 with goal to go. Pathetic. Pathetic. And I don't see many people calling him out on it. And more people should. Because he absolutely should have stopped that play. And Trevor Lawrence got lucky. That wasn't some amazing play. He got lucky. Because the Chiefs defense blew it on that play. One other thing I want to mention, Travis Hunter had a great contested catch. The 2nd overall pick, wide receiver / corner, Heisman winner. But on the play, it was underthrown, and he took a big hit. I don't know what it is, but Trevor Lawrence always seems to put his receivers in harm's way. He throws passes where they're about to catch the ball, but the defender is about to hit you. For whatever reason, I've never seen a quarterback do this. If you watch Peyton Manning or Aaron Rodgers, they never put the receivers in harm's way. Ever. But Trevor Lawrence is just not a very good quarterback. Another 4-1. I know his stats look good. Just like Caleb Williams, the stats look good, but they're not very good. They have a lot of talent around them. So, Jaguars get the win. God, I have so many notes on this, but I got to skip it. I don't want it to be a 45-minute video. Yeah, Jags are 4-1. Somehow, they're not 5-0. They couldn't beat the Bengals after Joe Burrow got hurt and Jake Browning threw 3 interceptions second half, and they still lost. Not sure how that happened. Jaguars are tied for first with the Colts, but they don't play till December, which is stupid. The Bears don't play the Packers till December. The people who make the schedule need to fix this. You should play your division opponents once in the first half of the year, the first 8 games, and once in the last 9 games. You should not play twice in 3 weeks. I think the Eagles and the Commanders do the same thing late in the year. Play twice in 3 weeks. It's so stupid. I want to see a Colts-Jaguars matchup in the next week or two, but I won't get it. Chiefs 2-3, like I said, only 1 game behind the division. They're going to be fine. They're going to get Rashee Rice back, and this is the best offense they've had in a while. Patriots 23, Bills 20. Wow, big-time upset on Sunday Night Football. Only way to stop the Bills' offense, because you can't, is to force turnovers. They're not going to punt a lot, and the Patriots forced 3, and that was the difference in the game. And we talked about the Bills in this channel a few times. Their defense looks vulnerable. It's not a great cornerback room, and they're very susceptible to the run if they get behind. We've seen games where they get absolutely shredded in the run game when they get behind, but the secondary is the big issue in this game. Stephon Diggs went off. He looks healthy. He's played really well the last 2 weeks. I really criticized the signing. They really wanted Chris Godwin, but he took less money to stay with the Buccaneers. But Diggs has looked great. He looks like he did when he was with Minnesota. And there's some off-the-field stuff with him. He's been traded a few times despite being such a good player, but really stepped it up. And Drake May, he's just really good. He really is going to be something special. There was a play where he's being ripped to the ground, and somehow he avoids his knee touching it and flips it to Diggs. I don't know how he got that away. Like, Brett Favre might be the only quarterback that can do that. Not joking. There's another incredible play where he's rolling to his right and just zips it down the field. He's got a cannon arm. He still makes some throws. You're like, oh, what are you doing? But, he's young. It's his second year. But they nailed it with that pick. Drake May, he looks amazing the last 2 weeks. Still needs a better offensive line. Still needs probably one more weapon in the passing game. How do they lose the Raiders week 1? We talked about this on the channel. You want to play the Patriots early because they have a lot of roster turnover. A lot of rookies and a lot of free agent signings. They had all this cap room. So you want to play them early, but they look legit the last 2 weeks. Whoop the Panthers and then win at Buffalo on Sunday night. Now the Bills. It's not devastating. Yes, it's a division home loss, but their schedule is favorable. It's still the Bills. But they have to go to Atlanta, who just came off a bye. And Atlanta's look pretty good at home. Not so much in Carolina, but they're much better in the Dome. So that's becoming an important game, Monday Night Football. And one more thing about the Bills, Dalton Kincaid. I was ripping him last year, calling him a borderline bust. He should have come up with that catch against the Chiefs in the AFC title game. He was a first-round pick 2 years ago, but he's off to a great start. He is looking like Josh Allen's favorite target this year. Like I said, Bills 4-1, Patriots 3-2. Lions 37, Bengals 24. It's not as close as the score indicates. It was 28-3 at one point. Bengals got a lot of points in garbage time. Jake Browning was hitting Jamar Chase late, and I'm sure the Lions were just playing kind of a prevent. Plus, their top 2 corners were out and maybe out for a while. More on that in the preview show on Friday. But the Lions have scored 174 points in their first 5 games. And that's with only scoring 13 at Green Bay week 1. That's the most in their franchise history through the first 5 games. 174 points. Wow. They've been outstanding. As long as they don't play Green Bay's defense. They've looked so good the last 4 weeks. Definitely one of the best teams in the NFL. Jake Browning, 3 more interceptions. Jake Browning's second interceptions in the NFL. He's thrown 8. Only Geno Smith's thrown more, 9, because Geno Smith's terrible. We'll talk about him in a second. And they've traded for Joe Flacco, whose third interceptions was 6, and he did not play this last game. Make sure you check out my video at the end. It's about 6.5 minutes long. It's my instant reaction. I just do not like this trade. I think the Bengals need to punt on the season. It might win them 1 or 2 more games. So instead of picking 5th and 6th in draft, they'll pick 11th or 12th. And they need to pick 5th or 6th and move back and get more picks because this roster has too many holes on it. Horrible offensive line. Except for Trey Hendrickson, the defense is pretty bad. But I saw another stat. EPA per dropback, one of those analytic metrics in the NFL. It stands for expected points added per passing play. Jake Browning last in the NFL, and second to last is Joe Flacco. And Flacco can't move. He's not mobile. And the offensive line is even worse than in Cleveland. He does have better weapons, but he has a worse offensive line. It's probably not going to make much of a difference. Chase Brown, 27 yards rushing for the Bengals. They can't run the ball. Worst run blocking offensive line in the NFL, hands down. And the Bengals they're just a bad team. And you have one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, Joe Burrow. Yes, he can still win 9-10 games with this team because he's that amazing. And you have Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. But when you don't have Burrow, it's brutal. They really should just punt on this season. But they're going for it. Whatever. It's not going to get better anytime soon. Their schedule's brutal the next 2 months. They're at Green Bay, who just had a bye. They do play the Jets and Dolphins at one point. They might not even win those games. You never know. Lions 4-1. In great shape. Bengals 2-3. Commanders 27, Chargers 10. This was a lot closer than the score indicated. There were 3 humongous plays that went the Commanders' way to get the win. Chargers were up 10-0. Had the ball. And then Quentin Johnson fumbled. That was number 1. The second one was a punt return by Ladd McConkey. But the Chargers roughed the punter in the end zone. And so Washington got a first down. And the third one was 7:40 to go. Justin Herbert has the ball tipped at the goal line and intercepted. Those 3 plays completely changed the game. Instead of a close game, 27-10. And the Chargers are out of offensive tackles. They lost Rashawn Slater for the year. Joe Alt was their right tackle. He moved to left tackle. He has a high ankle sprain. Then Trey Pipkins, who was filling in at right tackle, he's hurt. They don't have any tackles left, and it showed. Washington does not have a good pass rush. But they got 5 sacks in this game. And not only that, Amarian Hampton, their star rookie running back, he's looked very good. He was seen in a walking boot after the game and was put on IR. They're already without Najee Harris, their backup running back. So they went from one of the maybe best running back rooms to one of the worst now. They really need to get Amarian Hampton back. They're still in first place, tied with the Broncos, and they're 3-0 in the division. But they can be a little trouble the next few weeks. For some reason, they can't beat the NFC East. They can beat their division, but they're 0-2 now against the Giants and the Commanders. Still haven't played the Eagles yet. Just a disastrous last 2 weeks for the Chargers. As far as Washington goes, Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt had a big game. He had a fumble, but he did have a really good game rushing the ball. He needs to be the guy. No more splitting carries with Chris Rodriguez. He needs to be the guy. That's why they traded Brian Robinson to the 49ers. At least that's what I thought, is that Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt was going to be the guy. He's been splitting carries, but he's definitely their best option. Great 7th-round pick. Only fell because of eligibility issues. Only played 1 game for Arizona. But he was in my top 101, by the way. Just saying. Deebo Samuel continues to have a good season, which they needed with Terry McLaurin out. And Jaden Daniels is back. Obviously, that helps. So, big win for Washington because the Eagles lost. So, they're now only 1 game behind the division. Washington 3-2. Chargers are also 3-2, like we said. Titans 22, Cardinals 21. I'm going to try to go quick with this game because we talked about it a lot on the podcast last night. Link in the description. It's probably in the last 30 minutes we broke down what happened. But you cannot lose this game. Up 21-6, Amari Demercado flips the ball right at the goal line. Instead of a touchdown 28-6, it's a touchback. I think he crossed the plane before he flipped it. Then after the play, head coach Jonathan Gannon screams at Demercado, and I get that, but accidentally kind of pushes him or punches him. Didn't mean to. The Cardinals fined him $100,000, so I get that. But that can't happen. Why does this keep happening? You should never flip the ball forwards, like Adonai Mitchell for the Colts last week. We had another one. Or flip it backwards. Deshaun Jackson used to do that for the Eagles. This should never happen. If I'm a head coach in the NFL, I would tell my players, you can flip it backwards, forwards, whatever, after you're out of the back of the end zone. As you're running toward the end zone, breakaway play, someone might catch you. So you're holding that with 2 hands, or you're diving in the end zone, something. But it's unbelievable this still happens. This loss was the worst regular season loss I can remember. There might be worse, but I can't think of one. If I was the Cardinals owner, Michael Bidwell, I'd be rich. But I would have fired Jonathan Gannon before he left the building. Not joking. There's more. There was an interception by Darian Taylor Demerson. Say that 3 times fast. And then he fumbled the ball on his own. Wasn't hit. And the ball gets knocked in the end zone, and the Titans receiver Tyler Lockett falls on it. Either one of those plays happened, the Cardinals win easily. Then they got too conservative play calling. They had the ball with 3 minutes to go. Run on first down, run on second down, 3rd and 8, run on 3rd down. Punt. Up 2. If you're up 8, I get it, because the best they can do is tie. But up 2, all they need is a field goal to win, and they got it, and they lost. Just an absolute disaster. Titans get their first win. The Cardinals blew the easiest part of the schedule. They should be 4-1. And their schedule is so brutal. Their next 4 games are at the Colts, Packers at home, at the Cowboys, at the Seahawks. They will not be favored in any of those games. Their best chance to win is probably at the Cowboys because the defense for Dallas is so bad that it might be a shootout, so it might be a coin flip game. But Cardinals, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. I predicted they would before the season because I thought they'd get off to a great start with this schedule, but their offense has been disappointing. What's crazy is their defense looks much improved, but I don't think Jonathan Gannon survives this. Cardinals 2-3, 0-2 in the division. Titans 1-4, might be the only game they win this year. I have one more stat. At one point, someone on X posted this. I can't remember who it was. At one point, the Titans had a 1.8% chance to win this game. Unbelievable. Let's not talk about it anymore. Just getting grumpy. Because I lost Survivor. I picked Arizona. Stupid. I originally had the Colts over the Raiders, but I switched it. I'm like, let me save the Colts because they're a really good team. Stupid. Buccaneers 38, Seahawks 35. Bad loss for the Seahawks. At home, they should have won this game. The Buccaneers, you got to give them credit. They always seem to play well in the fourth quarter. In all of their games. They came up a little short last week against the Eagles, but all 5 games have been very close. So they easily could be 1-4, but they're 4-1 because they played well in the clutch, especially Baker Mayfield and Emeka Egbuka. Just want to mention him. He has been so good. Most rookie receivers can't do what he's done. I know we saw Lad McConkey, Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas Jr. last year, but Emeka Egbuka, he would get my vote for Rookie of the Year. He is incredible. I might do a deep dive on him, break down more of his college tape and why he's so good, but he's given me Amon-Ra St. Brown vibes. Yes. Amon-Ra St. Brown, a top 10 receiver in the NFL. Emeka Egbuka reminds me of him. Yeah. Seahawks. I love these uniforms. These are the, I guess, Steve Largent uniforms. I was trying to think of a player in the 90s, but they were so bad in the 90s, I can't even think of a Seahawks player. But I love these uniforms. They're one of my favorites. I don't like the all dark navy uniforms, but Sam Darnold was having an amazing game. And the knock on Darnold, and we saw it the Lions game to end the year and the playoff game against the Rams. When he has pressure, that's when he struggles. Clean pocket, he's as good as anyone. And late in the game, they got a pressure on him. And he had thrown 4 touchdowns, no picks up till that point. Amazing game. Both pass defenses were awful in this game. There were 10 total incompletions. So he gets pressure, and he throws the ball and hits off the helmet of one Buccaneer player and into the arms of Levante David for an interception. So it was tied at that point. Overtime is better than interception. You cannot throw a pick there. They should have been a little more conservative. And I hate playing not to lose, but when it's tied, you can't throw a pick. And the Buccaneers get a field goal to win. Just devastating loss for the Seahawks. But Sam Darnold, in the clutch, with pressure, throws a pick. And that's what worried me when they signed him. Still better than having Geno Smith as your quarterback, so they did upgrade there. We'll talk about that in a second. Kennard Walker, the running back for the Seahawks, very good player, continues to split carries with Zach Charbonnet. That's so stupid. It's insane. Both of them were second-round picks. Kennard Walker has much better stats. He's a much better player, passing the eye test. I even looked it up. Analytics loves Walker way better. Looked at 3 publications. All of them had Walker as a top 10 running back. And 2 of the 3 had Charbonnet as a bottom 10 running back. And the one that didn't had him 14th worst, something like that. Maybe they don't want to admit they wasted a second-round pick on Charbonnet, but why are they splitting? I know Walker's had injury issues, but he needs 20 carries a game. or at least 20 touches. He's much better than Charbonnet. Incredibly stupid. But, like I said, Buccaneers in first place in the NFC South. They're 4-1. Seahawks 3-2, one game behind the Niners. Colts 40, Raiders 6. So Mark Sanchez was supposed to call this game. Former Jet and Bear quarterback. However, he decided to attack a DoorDash driver drunk around midnight on Friday night and got stabbed doing it. A 69-year-old DoorDash driver. I want to learn more about this. I want to see the video. I don't know what happened, but how to ruin your career in one night. I don't understand this. Mark Sanchez would be one of the last guys you think would do this. I don't know how drunk he was, but what are you doing, man? If this had been a player, he probably gets suspended 3 games and then comes back and apologizes, whatever, but I don't think he's going to be broadcasting again anytime soon. The Sanchez. Remember when he was drafted, all these Jets fans are excited. Like they called him Mark Sanchez to the Sanchez. Just like they called Eric Mangini with one good year, the man genius. They had these nicknames. But now the butt fumble is not what he'll be known for. So congratulations, Mark Sanchez. Okay, Colts Raiders, 40-6. I was shocked this was only a 7-point spread. Vegas still doesn't believe in the Colts. I absolutely do. If you watched the podcast last night, link in the description. But Latu, we've talked about him. He was a first-round pick last year, edge rusher out of UCLA. He's off to an amazing start last year. Didn't do a whole lot last year, but he had an interception. He dropped in coverage and picked off Geno Smith. Geno Smith has been terrible. They gave up a third-round pick to get him. Made no sense. He's 34 years old. The Raiders gave Geno Smith a 2-year, $75 million contract extension in April. $66 million guaranteed. Yikes. Probably Tom Brady's decision. He's basically running this team, if you did not know. Terrible, terrible move. Giving up a third-round pick, and you're stuck with him because of that contract. He's not going anywhere. He'll be on the team next year. The only hope for the Raiders is they keep losing and pick high and draft a quarterback, and Geno can be the bridge, but Tom Brady, not doing such a great job. They're a really bad team. Colts just have a really good offense. Daniel Jones is playing well. They have so many weapons, great offensive line. Yeah, they're going to win the division, in my opinion. They're 4-1. Raiders 1-4. Like I said, you're looking at the draft again. It's been over 20 years since you had a team that was worth a shit. Saints 26, Giants 14. Draft pick game. If you win in October, you lose in April. And the Saints, this could hurt them from getting the number 1 pick. Early game, Jackson was throwing darts all over the field. Get it? But was terrible after that. Threw 2 interceptions, could have thrown more. Spencer Rattler has not played bad. He's not played good, but he's not played bad and was pretty efficient in this game. He's never going to be a great starter, but he can be a pretty good backup. But he gets his first win as a starting quarterback. He started some games last year. The Saints are just a bad team. And just like the Bengals, they have a lot of holes in the roster. They need help in the draft. But they get this win. I was curious how Jackson Dart would play without Malik Neighbors, but they had a good game plan. They spread the ball out, got ahead early. But when the Saints were up 19-14, Brian Breesy, defensive tackle of the Saints, forces a fumble on Cam Scadaboo, and Jordan Howden returns at 86 yards, completely flipped the game. So instead of going up 20-19 or 22-19 if you got the 2-point conversion, you're down 26-14, and that was pretty much the game. Really, 2 big plays changed this game. The Saints got a deep ball with Rashid Shaheed. It's hard to say. He had an 87-yard touchdown. He's their speed receiver. Great play for the Saints there. And there was a terrible roughing the passer call in this game. I'm going to link it in the description if I can find it. I think I still have it. Carl Granderson did nothing wrong. Didn't hit him in the head. Looked like he laid up a little bit. Barely hit Jackson Dart, and they still called it. I don't know what roughing the passer is. Just like I don't know what a catch is. But that's not roughing the passer. And it's not like Jackson Dart is Patrick Mahomes or Tom Brady when you can't even touch him. Flag comes out. Or a Notre Dame quarterback. But it should not have been called. Check it out after the video. But the officiating gets worse and worse every year. And replay is not even working. Why have replay if you're not going to get the call right? So that's about it. Both teams are 1-4. Look toward the draft if you're fans of these teams. Cowboys 37, Jets 22. Jets are the only team that hasn't won a game. New York teams are 1-9 this year. It's so bad. I thought the Jets' defense would be decent. Maybe not top 5, but pretty good. It's been a disaster. It's been worse than their offense. Justin Fields' stat. He's 0-26 when the opponent scores 21 points. Now, it is a team game, but that's crazy. Now, his stats look good, but most of it's in garbage time. They need an upgraded quarterback. They need a better defense. And another weapon besides Garrett Wilson. Jets fans, I talked to a few of them. They agree. Just lose as many games as possible. 1-16 would be great. Let's pick first, get a quarterback. And Aaron Glenn, the head coach, I thought he would have a big influence on the defense. He was a great defensive coordinator for the Lions. I get it. The Lions have more talent on defense than the Jets. They do. But not so significantly that the defense should be this bad. So it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. But the Jets are just so bad. I thought they could be a 7-8 win team. I totally missed on that. And Justin Fields threw 46 times. You're not going to win doing that. The Jets need to run the ball, especially with Breece Hall averaging 8 yards a carry in the game, playing the Cowboys defense, which is awful. But on the Cowboys side, Javonte Williams continues to have a resurgence. Who saw that coming? 16 carries, 135 yards. He's averaging 5.7 yards a carry this year with a bad offensive line. And we have to talk about Dak Prescott. 4 touchdowns, no picks. He is the MVP of the league right now. He's probably not going to get it because, 1, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. And 2, he's probably going to get hurt because the offensive line is that bad. We saw Joe Burrow throw 43 touchdowns last year, but they only won 9 games, missed the playoffs because the defense stinks, or he probably would have won the MVP. I would have voted for him. Just like right now, I'd vote for Dak. But big win for the Cowboys, and they're at Carolina next week. Carolina's played pretty good at home, but if they can win that, they'll be 3-2-1 and in pretty good shape. One more thing about the Cowboys. Ryan Flournoy was Dak's favorite target in the game. Obviously, CeeDee Lamb was out, but he was a late-round pick last year, so maybe he'll have a breakout season. That would really help. They could use a third receiver besides Pickens and Lamb. Cowboys are 2-2-1, and the Jets are 0-5. Okay. Broncos 21, Eagles 17. Great win for the Broncos. Beat the defending Super Bowl champs on the road. In a game they were down 17-3. Outscored the Eagles 18-0 in the fourth quarter. One decision I love by Sean Payton, who's a very good coach, by the way. When it was 17-10, the Broncos go in and get a touchdown, 17-16. And they could have kicked the point and tied it. But he went for 2. Knowing if we get it, we're up 18-17. If we don't get it, we still have, 3 or 4 minutes left to get the ball back and maybe kick a field goal for the win. More and more teams are doing that. It just makes the game more fun. And of course, the Broncos did get it back when they were up 1, 18-17, and then kicked a field goal to go up 4. If they hadn't gone for 2, it would have been a 3-point game, and the Eagles just need a field goal to tie. Because they got the 2-point conversion, it's a 4-point lead, and the Eagles needed a touchdown, and they didn't have enough time for that. Nick Bonitto is having an outstanding year. Has to be up there for Defensive Player of the Year. He had 2.5 sacks in this game against a very good pass-blocking offensive line. Vance Joseph, we got to talk about him. He's defensive coordinator of the Broncos. They were playing a lot of man early on, and Devontae Smith was having a really good game. So Joseph switches to his own, and it was very effective. The Eagles had 3 first downs and 0 points on their final 5 drives. Their offense has been bad all year. They're 30th in yards per game, 31st in passing, and 25th in rushing, with Saquon Barkley, with A.J. Brown, who's not happy with this role, with Devontae Smith, with Dallas Goedert. How was their offense so bad? It was so good in the NFC title game in the Super Bowl last year. The Eagles got to figure that out. They can be in a little trouble this year. Bo Nix had an incredible fourth quarter. We've seen 2 different Bo Nixes this year, the good and bad, really depending on the half. But if he plays well, they're probably one of the best teams in the NFL because the defense is that good. Best pass rush group in the NFL. But the Broncos needed this. They should be 4-1. They had that leverage penalty against the Colts. And now they're tied for first place with the Chargers. So Broncos, huge win. And Eagles fans should be concerned. Saquon Barkley, 6 carries for 30 yards. He's looked a step slower to me, and they've blown huge leads in back-to-back weeks. They did hold on to beat the Buccaneers, but man, the Eagles were lucky to be at 4-1. They only beat the Cowboys by 4, and CeeDee Lamb started dropping the ball in the fourth quarter. And they were down 26-7 to the Rams and somehow won that game. Bad special teams by the Rams. So they were really lucky to be 4-1. So with the offense struggling that bad, how are they 4-1? It's because they have 1 turnover all year. Jalen Hurts is the only quarterback that started every game that has not thrown an interception. So they're not making mistakes. That is why they're 4-1. Quick turnaround for them. They're at the Giants this Thursday. They are a better team than the Giants, but it is a short week on the road. I'm going to preview that at the end of this video real quick. Like I said, Eagles 4-1. Broncos 3-2. Panthers 27, Dolphins 24. I don't think we need to spend a lot of time on this game. It's also a draft pick game. Bryce Young, what can we say about him? He's so up and down. Early on, he was terrible, threw a pick, and then fumbled the ball, just was scrambling away from pressure and just dropped the ball. Basically gave the Dolphins a huge lead. It was 17-0 at one point. But it's the Dolphins, and their defense stinks, so they blew it. Tua Tagovailoa had a really good game despite no Tyreek Hill. Yes, Tua Tagovailoa, not Tua turned the ball over. There's 2 Tuas out there. But he didn't have any turnovers in this game. And Darren Waller has been very helpful. The tight end who didn't play last year, he's had a lot of injury issues. We thought he was retired, came back. And Jalen Waddle stepped up. He had a late touchdown in the game. But the story of the game is Rico Dowdle. Filling in for Chuba Hubbard, who was hurt. 23 carries for 206 yards, 9 yards a carry. How did the Cowboys let this guy walk? He's very good. And the Dolphins defense can't stop the run. They can't stop the pass. It's a bad combination. Got to shout out Xavier Legette. I've been so harsh on him. He was a first-round pick last year, wide receiver. He's been so bad until this game. And he had a really good touchdown catch, perfect throw, great catch by Xavier Legette. So maybe it's turning around for him. That's about it. Panthers are 2-3, 2-0 at home, 0-3 on the road. They look like a completely different team at home. Dolphins are 1-4 and should be selling all their impending free agents. Any team that needs a tight end, they should be shopping Darren Waller. Maybe the Chargers, the Bucks, possibly the 49ers if George Kittle's out for a while. Texans 44, Ravens 10. Everyone had the Texans beating the Ravens by 34 before the season started, right? Wow. So I heard a stat on Red Zone. I believe that's where I heard it. The Ravens are missing over $160 million worth of salary cap in this game. And the salary cap's in the $200 million. So more than half their cap. I've never seen an injury report like this in my life. Almost the entire secondary was out. Left tackle was out. Lamar Jackson, starting middle linebacker, both starting defensive tackles. Total disaster. It looked like the Texans were playing their starters in a preseason game and the Ravens had pulled all theirs. That's what it looked like to me. And the Texans' O-line, it's still horrible. Worst offensive line in the NFL. And there were a few plays where they absolutely blew it. But luckily for the Texans, the Ravens don't get a lot of pass rush. And they're missing those 2 defensive tackles. So I think there was only 2 sacks in the game. If they'd been playing a really good pass rush, it would have been a lot more. The Texans, they scored 64 points in the first 4 games and 44 in this one. Crazy. C.J. Stroud's playing much better. They got off to such a bad start, 0-3. Now they're 2-3. So still a couple games behind the division, but it's looking up for the Texans. Ravens are in serious trouble. The defense has given up more points than any team in the NFL, and there are 4 losses. They've given up at least 37 in all of them. Their only hope is that the Steelers start losing. If the Steelers start 7-2, they're screwed. If the Steelers are, 5-4, then they have a shot to come back maybe if they get healthy. But the good news for the Ravens, they do play the Bengals twice. So, yeah, there you go. That's helpful. But even when all their starters are back, they have to outscore people because the defense is just awful. Texans 2-3, Ravens 1-4. Ravens 1-4. Crazy. Vikings 21, Browns 17. Last game. This was in London. Dylan Gabriel's first start. Browns pretty much led the whole game and blew it in the end. We'll talk about why in a second. But the Vikings played a lot of man in this game, and it was a really good decision because the Browns receivers don't separate much. It's not a very good group. Jerry Jeudy is, I guess, their number one, really needs to be number two. Isaiah Bond, he's just a rookie. Cedric Tillman's out. They have some good tight ends, but it's just a bad group. And Dylan Gabriel, he's a rookie first start, obviously, but he didn't seem to get off his first read a lot early in the game. Even though the receivers covered, he was still throwing it. And lucky he didn't throw a pick. A lot of them were getting batted down. But later on in the game, he was featuring the tight ends and running backs more, and that's when they started having success. Harold Fanning Jr., rookie, tight end. David Njoku, the veteran. And, of course, Quinshon Judkins had a really good game. He's been outstanding last 2 weeks. But the Browns lost this game just getting way too conservative. They had a 17-14 lead, and I guess you don't want Dylan Gabriel to throw a pick, but they had it late and do run on first down, run on second down. It made it 3rd and 11, and then he threw incomplete. Why not try a play-action rollout on first or second down? Because the Vikings are selling out against the run. That's what you have to do when you're behind. And I don't know why these teams get so conservative. The Cardinals did it. The Browns did it. When you play not to lose, you probably will lose. And they both did. So Vikings really almost lost this game because of 2 fumbles that absolutely killed 2 drives. Carson Wentz briefly left the game after getting hit in the shoulder by star rookie Carson Schlesinger. He's been terrific. First pick of the 2nd round for the Browns. But you don't want Max Brosmer playing with J.J. McCarthy out. Luckily for the Vikings, Carson Wentz came back, or they probably do not win. One more thing I want to touch on in this game. I thought the Browns would get more sacks than they did. I thought Myles Garrett would have more of an impact. For some reason, maybe it's Myles Garrett's decision or just the way the Browns play defense, he seems to only line up against the left tackle almost the entire game. Move him around. When you have an elite pass rusher, to me, he's the best pass rusher in the game. One of the best I've ever seen. Up there with like Reggie White, Lawrence Taylor, Derek Thomas. Yes, up there. He's that good. Move him around. Get him on the best matchup. The Vikings were missing a right tackle. They're missing a guard and a center. So why is he going against Darisaw, who's a very good left tackle, every play? Doesn't make any sense. Move him around like the Packers and the Cowboys last year used Micah Parsons. Get him on the best matchup. He should have had 10, 11 pressures and 2 sacks, but he didn't. And that's very advantageous for the Vikings because they know where he's going to line up. They don't have to make adjustments. You already know where he's going to line up so you can double team him whenever you want. Just doesn't make any sense. Jordan Addison missed the first quarter. It was a coaching decision. And right before halftime, the sideline reporter had a chance to ask Kevin O'Connell, the head coach of the Vikings, ask him why. And instead asked him about a trick play running back through the pass, Cam Akers. Stupid question. What's he going to say? Oh, yeah, we worked on it in practice. Cam did well. Blah, blah, blah. Stupid. I want to know why Jordan Addison did not play in the first quarter because he's on my fantasy team. I want to know. And we found out later he missed a walkthrough, which is stupid, but we needed to know that. Get rid of sideline reporting, especially female ones. They're terrible. Just get rid of them. There's no reason there should be sideline reporting because everything gets sent up to the booth. There's X now. You can find stuff out real quick. Just get rid of them. They ask the dumbest questions. How about this one? What was going through your mind? Hate that question. Absolutely ridiculous. Okay. Vikings, 3-2. They're in good shape. Browns, 1-4. Yeah, Browns, you just want to lose games and pick high in the draft. There's so many bad teams. I keep saying that. Okay. Giants play the Eagles Thursday night. Giants are 1-4. Eagles 4-1. Saquon Barkley had a DNP, did not participate. I don't think they practiced, but you have to put out an injury report anyway. But apparently he's just really sore and went to practice, just rested. That's something to monitor because he only got 6 carries, so maybe there's something lingering there. He is expected to play. Obviously, no Malik Neighbors. I want to see if the Eagles play a lot of man coverage. They've played more this year than they have in previous years. They played a lot of zone last year. But I would. Because Darius Slayton, probably their next best wide receiver, he's probably not going to play as well. He hurt his hamstring against the Saints. So I would play a lot of man if I'm the Eagles. Eagles should win this easily, but their offense has not been very good. And the Broncos got a lot of pressure on Jalen Hurts, and the strength, maybe the only strength, of the Giants is pass rush. The Eagles favored by 7.5 on the road, Thursday night short week. That's more than I expected. I thought it was going to be 5.5. So, while I do think the Eagles will win, give me the Giants plus 7.5 at home. Okay. Friday, look out for my NFL preview video and check out the podcast. Like I said, it's called Lights Out with me and Mike. We do it every Tuesday night, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific. And we did a couple watch-alongs last week. We're going to do more of those in the future. I'm not sure if we're going to do college football or maybe baseball, possibly another Monday night game. We'll see. Well, like I said, link in the description. If you have not subscribed, make sure you do so. Hit the bell for notifications so you never miss one of my videos. Because you never know when I'm going to do an instant reaction if something big happens. I think there will be a lot of trades over the next month before the deadline because there's so many bad teams that just need help in the draft. Just get as many draft picks as possible. If you enjoyed this, please give me a thumbs up. It really helps out the channel. Share this with anyone who loves football as we continue to grow Football with Cheese. Check these out if you have not, and I will see you Friday for the preview video.